Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Extension Program at Tennessee State University, and we're fortunate to have with us the director of the Extension Program at Tennessee State University, the administrator, Dr. ILyles. And Dr. Lyles, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Dr. Lyles, you know, what we'd like to do is to talk about the Extension Program at Tennessee State University and some of the things that are going on now in terms of your programs, grants, and other things that have happened recently. But before we get into that, let's talk about ILyles to give our audience an opportunity to meet the new administrator for the Extension Program at Tennessee State University, to talk about his background, his education, and that kind of information, and then we'll get into the Extension Program.
Well, as we were talking prior to the show, I'm a native of Mississippi. I attended high school at a little small high school of 80-some people in my graduating class. I was SGA president when I was in high school, the first black SGA president they had. From there, I went on to Alcorn State University, majoring in agriculture. And interestingly enough, I did grow up on a farm in Mississippi, a little town called Forest, Mississippi. My father made his living farming. My mother was a full-time homemaker, which was sort of unusual in that she had taught school for several years. As she began to raise her family, she stopped and thought they were more important than her professional career. And then when my baby brother entered the second grade, I think it was, she decided to go back and become recertified again and went back in the classroom and spent another 21 years back in the public school system. So I'm totally engraved in agriculture and farming and all that background. Out of the 8 of us, I'm the only one that saw fit to continue it as a profession. Most of them decided I've had enough of this, mainly because of the stereotypes and everything associated with it, and they went into other professions. But while at Alcorn State University, like I said, I majored in agriculture. I thoroughly enjoyed agriculture. I thoroughly enjoyed the clientele I was working with. I realized the value of land and what we need to do to preserve it and so forth. So I had a rewarding experience there and truly love my alma mater. I think that where you get that first degree from is where you have the closest kindred. From there, I began to work with the Mississippi Cooperative Extension Program. I spent 9 years in Philadelphia, Mississippi, which is Neshoba County. And the significance of that is, if any of you saw the movie Mississippi Burning, it was based on the whole incident that happened in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And I was fortunate enough that the county commissioners in that county came to me during the 25th anniversary as one that could hopefully bring together the black population there and the white population and the American Choctaw Indian population to bring together a rehealing process for the 25th anniversary. So I chaired that entire committee of bringing together all those groups, and we had a wonderful celebration during my term as a county extension agent, starting off at the very bottom in the extension program in Mississippi. I started off as an assistant county agent, moved from an assistant county agent into an associate county agent. From there, I became the county extension leader in that county. Spent 9 years working in that county, had a wonderful staff in a popular county that was only 7% black population in the county, about 4% American Indian, predominantly white population. Had a wonderful experience in that county. While I was in that county, I decided that I wanted to go back and get my master's degree. At the time, I only had my BS. I had got a new lease on life and enjoyed a little bit more about education. So in 1984, I decided to go back and get my master's, and I'd done this predominantly at night, going part-time because it was something I wanted to do. Well, during that time, my wife and I, we started our family, and all of this kind of stuff happened. And she was working on the Choctaw Indian Reservation as a child care provider. She was certified in early childhood development, and they rearranged, reorganized, restructured the program, and she was without employment. So while I was working on my master's, she also decided, well, while I'm unemployed, I'm going to go ahead and get my master's. So if you can imagine a young couple trying to, both of you in school, trying to raise your family and everything else associated with it, it was a difficult time for us, but fortunate with the right family support and everything, we managed to make it through it. I did complete my master's degree, and she got hers, and we continued on. Later on, I decided that once I finished my master's at Mississippi State University, one of my professors I had when I was in school at Mississippi State working on my master's called me, you know, one of those things that you send in the office out of the blue and say, you know, I think you need to come on and get your doctorate. Here's an opportunity. I got an opportunity for you that, you know, you need to think about. And basically what he told me was that at Ohio State University, they were looking for a graduate administrative associate to work with them on developing a minority recruitment and retention plan within the College of Agriculture. It would carry with it a full scholarship. Room and board was separate. I had to find my own finance for that, but it would pay all my tuition and all that kind of stuff. Here I am. By this time, we got 2 small kids. My wife has just went back in the public school system as a teacher. I'm getting my career back on track, I think. And I go home, I said, I need some ammunition to tell this gentleman no, because he and I were good friends. He was one of those mentors of mine that we all have as we go through the process. And I said, Pauletta, I say, I've been called with this opportunity. What do you think about it? And she looked at me and she said, well, if you ever have any aspirations of doing it, you better do it now, because I don't mind working with these kids while they're small and raising them. She said, I'm not going to raise teenagers by myself. We thought about it, and we talked about it, and it made a lot of sense. So I left, and I went to Ohio State and got my doctorate at Ohio State. Finished there. I was on sabbatical from Mississippi State. So at that time, I came back to Mississippi State and went back to work. And about 3 months after I had returned, got a call from Ohio State with the personnel director. Said, you know, we enjoyed working with you when you were in graduate school. We think you've done some things that were on target and so forth. We have this position available, and we would like for you to consider applying for it. Well, the only job I'd ever had was with Mississippi State as a county agent. I had only been in 2 counties. But we talked about the possibilities. And finally, I said, you know, I'm happy here. They've been real supportive. They've given me the sabbatical. I worked out all these things. I knew when I went to school I'd have a job when I returned and everything. But sometimes, you know, opportunities are placed on the table. It's hard to say no to. So we talked about it, and he made me an offer. And I said, oh, that sounds great, you know. And I went and talked to the director of the extension program in Mississippi. I thought I owed him that much to go visit with him about it. And you know, it's like, Ivory, you know, we enjoy you working here, but we can't match what Ohio State is willing to offer. So at that time, we made a decision. We went to Ohio State and went to work for the Ohio Cooperative Extension Program. I became the county chairman in Franklin County, Columbus, Ohio, which is the same county where the Ohio State University is located. A totally different environment, coming from a small county where I had 6 staff members, going to a county where you've got 25 staff members, going from a budget of $250,000 to one much larger than that. Was a tremendous advantage, difference for a country boy from Mississippi, to say the least. But I enjoyed my stay at Ohio State in Columbus. Wonderful opportunities were presented there. I think we developed some good programs there. And one of my undergraduate professors one day called me and said that the University of Tennessee has been in contact with me. They're looking for a district supervisor in Chattanooga and to head up their district program down there. And for some reason, I thought about you. He said, is it okay if I give him your name? And I told him at that time, I'm happy here. You know, I'm not interested. He said, but just let me give him your name, you know. You know how. And I think that's one of the things I really enjoyed in my high school. I think I really enjoyed it in my college experience, is that relationship that I developed with the faculty at the university. I think a small university have a lot to offer students in that perspective. So we talked about it, and he said, I'm going to give them your name, and they may or may not be in contact with you once they find out your background and so forth. But they did call, and we talked, and they said, well, why don't you come down for an interview? They gave me the interview dates and everything, and so we'll pick up the tab, we'll pay for your interview expenses down here. And if that be the case, so I came down, I met them at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and we visited for about a couple of hours, and then I left, went on back to Ohio, and got a call in a couple of days, said, you know, we narrowed our pool down, and you're definitely one of the finalists in our pool. And we've got the final interview set for this date, and we hope you can make it. Again, you know, you always have to involve your family in these decisions. And so, again, we came down for the second round of interviews, and less than 24 hours later, they called me and offered me the position.
Very good.
So it's one of those things. That's how I got to Tennessee with the University of Tennessee as the district supervisor. From there, I came to Tennessee State University.
Very good. You know, Dr. Lyles, and that's just excellent information. We certainly appreciate that. And we've got a commercial break that's coming up within the next 8 or 10 seconds. And in the meanwhile, let's have you to sort of think about the agricultural extension program at Tennessee State University, so that after our commercial break, we can get into that and discuss it from that perspective. We'll be back with you following this commercial break.